Hello, this is Pretty Guardian, and with the next season of The Boys coming up soon on Amazon Prime, I wanted to take a few minutes and run you through my top 10 Supes, my favorite superheroes that are featured in that show. Just as a heads up, if you're not caught up with seasons 1 and 2 and Diabolical, some things in this list may be spoilers, but let's go ahead and jump in and talk about it a little bit more. My first caveat that I also want to add in here is that this is only about like the superheroes. So this isn't a ranking of all of my favorite characters. There's a lot of amazing standouts like Giancarlo Esposito as Stan Edgar. He is chef's kiss, just an amazing actor who adds so much gravitas to everything that he does. At number 10 on my list is the Crimson Countess. If you know me, you know that I love Scarlet Witch. So of course, any character that is based off of her is going to be highly ranking in my book. I'm not really sure what kind of role she's going to play in the upcoming season or what the extent of her powers are, although it seems like she does have some pyrokinetic abilities. So I'm definitely very interested. The reason she's only number 10 on my list is because we haven't really seen her yet so far. So definitely looking forward to that one. At number 9 on my list is Homelander. And the reason he's placed so low is because I just think that he is such a disgusting character. I'm not saying he's badly written or badly done or anything like that, just that he is such a sinister and insidious being that I am not a fan. Also, just in general, I feel like that sort of character archetype is a little bit overplayed in media right now. Maybe not necessarily back when the comic books were originally written, but right now it's a little bit done to me. What I will say is that Anthony Starr brings such wonderful life to this character and makes him feel so real. So that's why he's at number 9 for me. In sort of a similar vein, at number 8, we have Stormfront. And this character is kind of a departure from how they did them in the comic books, in the sense that we have a woman character. And when she's first presented to us, she's from Portland, the same city as me. And she just seems like this edgy, kick-ass, I guess maybe you could call her a social justice warrior, but my stupid ass bought into it. I was like, oh yeah, she's so fucking cool. And then she turns out to be this horrible, evil Nazi person. And she's just using social media to manipulate the situation in the favor of her and Vought. And honestly, I feel like that was a really good twist for her. And having her be this type of character was a great way to utilize that character in a modern media sort of situation. So wonderfully done. At number 7 on my list is the character Soon-Hee, and she is from Diabolical episode 7, John and Soon-Hee. She's a cancer patient who ends up taking some of Compound V and developing superpowers, and her cancer turns into this super cancer monster. And what I like is that in the end, she chooses to fight the monster rather than just let it rampage. There was kind of this element of self-sacrifice to her. And in a medium that is so cynical as The Boys, to have that kind of selfless character, I felt like she was just kind of a beacon of hope. And I think she's really cool. What really surprised me about that episode too is that it was written by Andy Samberg. So clearly he has more than just comedic talent in him. I'd say maybe going untapped, he should be doing more stuff like this. At number 6 on my list is the character Black Noir. And so my knowledge of him is based a little bit on the comics and then also a little bit in the show. And he's a character that we haven't seen a whole lot of. We know that he's badass. A lot of people might compare him to somebody like Batman, but we don't really know the extent of his powers or a lot about his backstory. So I think from that sort of mysterious standpoint, he's kind of an engaging character to watch in the show. And I'll be interested to see if they bring him back or do anything further with him. At number 5 on my list is the character The Deep. In the context of the Seven, he feels sort of an Aquaman archetype. And he's a very interesting character to me in the sense that at first he seems just like a total fuckboy and just not a very good person. And I probably stand by that based on what he did to Starlight and everything. But we also see some complexity in him by seeing his insecurities and his own experience with being assaulted and that sort of thing. I don't want to say that I'm sympathetic towards him, but as far as a lot of the Supes that are getting screen time, I definitely want to see more of his story and kind of the direction that he goes into. At number 4 on my list is the female. You know, she is a badass assassin, and at this point, she's basically unkillable from what we've seen. She always just kind of has a way of popping herself back together and getting right back into the fight. I think she has an interesting backstory. They gave her lots of relationships within the show, and we kind of see how she fulfills different roles as a sister, as a girlfriend, as an assassin. It'll be exciting to see what role she plays in the upcoming season as well. At number 3 on my list is Starlight. She is beautiful, she's powerful, and to me, one of the things that makes her interesting is that I feel like she's very analogous to a type of person that we might see in real life, where if we're looking at her, she does have this genuine desire to do good and to help people, but she was also unknowingly brought up in the entrenched power structures of the world. She was given Compound V from a very young age, as most of the experimentations and stuff happened, but it was very intentional on her mom's part to always raise her to fulfill this superhero type role. And I think loosely we do see that type of character in real life too. So we're kind of watching her look at the question of, how do I manage the life that I thought I wanted for myself and the structures in the world the way that they are? And how do I manage that against my genuine, earnest desire to help people and do good in the face of what is obviously so much evil? From that perspective, I'm interested in seeing where her story goes, because I feel like that could potentially shed some sort of like philosophical insight into where we're actually at in the real world. And that's something that I think is interesting about a lot of these characters, is through their flaws and their conflict, we're able to gain more insight into ourselves and our world. At number 2 on my list is Queen Maeve. You know, I love a Wonder Woman type. I can't hide who I am, but I think she is also, much like Starlight, beautiful and interesting, and also conflicted. You know, she struggles with her alcoholism and also coming from that place of wanting to do good, but having been entrenched in the system for so long, she's developed a more cynical, jaded outlook on life. It's kind of like being able to see a foil for Starlight, and in the sense that this is what she could look like if she went down this path. And ultimately, it wasn't a good one for Queen Maeve. So she is also struggling with figuring out how to continue doing good with the great power that she's been bestowed. And number 1 on my list, I was actually very torn about whether to put him in here or not, but you know, it's our boy, Billy Butcher, and I have to put him in there for a couple reasons. First off, he's fucking badass. He's killed more Supes than literally anybody, and I think we need to give him his props for that. But also in season 3, it looks like he's going to be getting some superpowers of his own, at least temporarily. So I feel like on multiple levels, he's kind of earned his spot there at number 1. He's also a very conflicted and complex character. Maybe not necessarily somebody to look up to, but definitely an interesting case study for the types of characters here in this world. So that is my list of my top 10 favorite Supes in The Boys. And as always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. This is Pretty Guardian, logging out.